So this is a video that's probably going to get me a lot of hate, but I want to double and triple down on this. The Fever are unlikely to get Satu Sabally. The Fever are looking to win the WNBA championship. The Chicago Sky don't really want Chennedy Carter. And what Chennedy Carter is currently doing right now in China is unbelievable. If the Fever want a chance, even if they keep Kelsey Mitchell, Chennedy Carter will be the literal best bench player in the entire WNBA. And I don't know how many teams are that interested in getting her. And whatever the hell, you don't want her to go to the Aces because she might be the one player that pushes the only chance the Aces have winning at all is if Chennedy Carter comes. If the Indiana Fever can literally go out with a starting lineup of Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey Mitchell at the 2, Lexi Hull at the 3, anyone at the 4, any Samaro at the 4, Aaliyah Bost at the 5, and you keep Katie Lou, who I think is going to be a good bench player next year, because you can't get rid of her, it's an untradeable contract. You keep Katie Lou, Dantas is your backup center, maybe use that second round pick if she's available on a Sedona Prince. There's the Russian girl as well that you might look at with a second round pick. Is it Kosu or something? And then having them on the bench. I think Victoria Saxton. I liked what I've seen from Victoria Saxton. I think she's a good modern 4 glue guy type player. And then if you've got Chennedy Carter running the show as that, with Grace Berger maybe in there, Chennedy Carter running the show, and anything you can get for what's her name, Nalissa Smith. Maybe you can go and give Nalissa Smith and Dantas to Washington for Steph Dolson for trying to get offers, something like that. That's a championship team. But it's scary how good Chennedy Carter is. I've been watching these games in China. She has been literally the best player. She's been the best player in the entire league. And if you're seeing what she's doing, it's crazy. She's dropping 40 every second game. And just how many players in the WNBA can do this? It's not many. It's really not many. Yeah, there's a lot of NBA players that can do this, but how many WNBA players can go like this? So, this is the last couple of seconds in a quarter. She makes an incredible read, sprints down the floor, and you can see at this angle how quick she is. Through the legs, spin move, pull up for 3, on the 2 seconds to go, bang. And this isn't just a play. She's dropping 40 every freaking game, pretty much. Chennedy Carter's out here dropping 40, and not only that, if you want to say, Chennedy Carter is a head case, this is what Chennedy Carter has done in that same game, by the way. So, Chennedy Carter she's playing, she's there on the ball, she just gets shoved in the back. This is a hard foul. You can see she's going for the steal, probably flagrant 1, but she gets shoved in the back, and look what Chennedy Carter does. She gets up and helps her opponent up off the ground. She tries to help her opponent up off the ground. This is someone who very clearly knows, who very clearly is focused for the first time in her career, knows exactly why her career has not panned out, it seems, like it should have. Who is focused. This is a focused Chennedy Carter. This is a focused Chennedy Carter. We've got a Chennedy Carter who is winning sportsmanship awards. We've got a Chennedy Carter who, again, is focused on doing things to win, who's playing winning basketball, who's been the best freaking player outside the WNBA this season. Or from the WNBA overseas this season. This is in my opinion, is worth the risk. If the Chicago Sky are dumb enough to allow one of the best players in the entire league to walk, because the GM doesn't really like her and maybe she doesn't fit. In fairness, if they're looking to tank and they're looking for long term, they're not looking to win right away, it makes sense because she doesn't fit that. But I don't care about the cheap shot with Caitlin Clark. Because the reality of the situation is the Indiana Fever, at some stage or another, are going to have a player on their team that has talked shit or done something to Caitlin Clark. That is just reality. It's going to happen. And all will be forgiven. I'm telling you, all will be forgiven as soon as they win. If we've seen it in all sports, players can despise each other. Like, heck, we've seen what, like, Dejanay and Marina Mabrey, they hated each other. But all's forgiven, once they're on the same team. Competitors can dislike competitors. Competitors can go at each other. Like, this is something that happens in sports at the end of the day. It is impossible to just fantasy book a team of people that have not said a negative word about Caitlin Clark, because that team, I don't even think you will find 12 play. You will find a team to do that. I really don't. I really don't think you will find a freaking team to go and do that. So, I'm standing by this, that, like, if Chennedy Carter is available, if she is available, it is worth the risk. If it doesn't work out, okay, you're not winning. You're probably not winning the championship this year anyway. Like, I know a lot of people are going to be talking about, the Fever have a shot at winning the championship. They don't. Let's be real. If they don't get Satu Sabally, they could make the semi-finals. Maybe, if all goes right, they could win the best of 5 in the finals. Like, that is a huge thing. That is genuinely a huge thing. Is that if all goes right, that is the best case scenario for this team, is they scrape it into the finals. But all going well, more than likely they make the semi-finals, and that's a good progression year on year. And then suddenly you go into the 2026 free agency class with a chance, and that is if Chennedy Carter's gone. Chennedy Carter's not going to ruin team chemistry, because Chennedy Carter knows this is her last chance. You can see it in China. She's winning sportsmanship awards. Even last year, when she was out of the WNBA, she was causing brawls in China last year. Whereas this year, she's winning sportsmanship awards. She knows she doesn't have, like, if she screws this up, she is done. And I think it's willing to take. I think anyone should be willing to take the risk. And a big part of that is also the fact that Chennedy Carter is a top 10 basketball player in the WNBA. She is willing to come off the bench. For basketball reasons, she is literally, if the Sky apparently don't have a qualifying offer, she's an unrestricted free agent. She is the best unrestricted free agent that has a chance of signing anywhere as a player. Like, if you want to look at 2025 unrestricted free agents, Nneka's going back to Seattle, Stewie's staying, Satu was cored, Kelsey Mitchell's going to be cored, Kelsey Plum's obviously was cored. So all of the, like, top players have been cored. But the reality of the situation is, Chennedy Carter's better than all of them. Last season, when Chennedy Carter played, she was a top 10 player in the league. And other than Stewie, obviously, and Nneka, who, again, they're not available. Fever can't get them. You just want to stockpile talent. And I'm sorry, it is impossible to stockpile just a bunch of pro Caitlin Clark players, because that team would stink. I'm sorry, like, I've actually heard people saying to try get Sophie Cunningham and get rid of what's her name, Kelsey Mitchell instead, just because Sophie Cunningham's pro Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry, what? Sophie Cunningham is a good, decent bench player. Sophie Cunningham's not that much better than Kate. She's like, Sophie Cunningham is closer to Katie Lou Samuelson than she is to a Chennedy Carter as a player. Like, no, you bring the best team together. You trust Stephanie White to coach them, and you trust the team to play together. And I think it is, some team is going to get a gem in Chennedy Carter if the Sky are dumb enough to let her walk. And I think the Sky are dumb enough to let her walk. Why can't that team, to take advantage of the Sky being dumb, be the Fever? Because if it doesn't work out, fine, you trade her. You cut her and you let her sign a hardship contract somewhere else. But I'm willing to take the risk. If I'm a team that's looking for a championship, unless you're already there. If I'm one piece away from getting to a championship and I don't have and there's no player in free agency, or I can't get a trade for that piece, I am willing to take the risk. If I'm I personally think the championship favorite should be the Liberty no matter what. I think Satu's going there. Next favorites after the Liberty is going to be the After the Liberty is going to be the Lynx, obviously. And the Lynx are a bit of a different team. The Lynx will never look at Chennedy Carter because of the way they play. It's just so much team ball, and I think Cheryl Reeve would be a horrible coach for her. The Sun, I don't think are going to have enough. I think they're probably going to lose Bonner and Thomas. It then becomes like the top two teams, and the next two teams should be the Aces and the Fever. Both of those teams are nowhere near as good as the top two, but they are one piece off maybe being that good. And I genuinely think that Chennedy Carter could be that piece for the Fever. But anyway, I'll see you guys.